Go listen to me. That was the training. That's so hard to live with it. I get new things frequently.
You don't get hours.
Hey, local hours.
Local hours, exactly.
It's a new thing.
Are you ready, Linda?
Yeah.
I'll call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Please rise. There'll be an invocation from Linda, please.
Would you please bow your heads while I pray? Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this great crowd that's shown up tonight to celebrate our students and our staff. And Lord, I pray that you bless each one of them and the influence they have on our children. And I pray that you would bless them and guide them as they guide our students. I thank you for the board, Lord, and for the ability we have to come together and to have a say-so in our kids' education. I pray that we would be wise, that we would have clarity of thought and understand the issues, and that we would always keep the kids in mind as we vote. I pray that you would go with us now. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Join with the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. You may be seated. Before we move on to the minutes, I got a call from James today. I don't know if y'all heard, but his daughter was in a wreck up in Dallas. She's doing okay, but he was having to go up there. She told the car out, so keep him and his family in your prayers if you don't mind. With that, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. We had a special meeting last month. We had a special meeting, budget meeting last week. Everybody had a chance to read that. I entertain a motion. Waive the reading of it.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by Becky.
I'll second.
Second by Ray. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. Recognitions?
All right, so it's time for our 226 awards. Going the extra mile. Tonight we have Teachers of the Year, New Teachers of the Year, Paraprofessionals from the Year from each of our campuses. So with that, Mrs. Stowe's not here tonight, so our principals are going to do the honor. And I'm going to start with Wild Pete's and Principal McCarthy.
You know, this is the best part of being a principal, is getting to recognize staff who do an amazing job. Ms. Staggers, you're up first. Ms. Staggers has been here before to be recognized, but this time I'm proud to recognize her as our Instructional Paraprofessional of the Year, our very first one ever. And so the first thing you notice about Ms. Staggers is that big, beautiful smile that comes from the heart. It radiates love. It radiates compassion for staff and students alike, even crusty old people like me. And if you're lucky enough to work around Ms. Staggers, you are going to catch some of that love because it spills over abundantly. Ms. Staggers works with special needs children who need assistance with personal care. And that's a tough job. But every child that Ms. Staggers works with receives her unconditional love, and they're never made to feel less because they need more. Ms. Staggers has a heart of gold, bigger than Texas, and her students know that they are loved. And on top of being the most positive and loving person at Wild Peach Elementary, Ms. Staggers is probably the most dependable. I never have to go looking for Ms. Staggers. She's always where she's supposed to be, and she's always with or caring for children. And she has almost perfect attendance. She missed 1/2 of one day this year so she can go to the doctor. Ms. Staggers' unwavering dedication to children and her compassion and love for children are the qualities that make her a standout instructional paraprofessional, and I am so proud to recognize her as Wild Peach Elementary's Paraprofessional of the Year. All right, next up is Mallory Rhodes. No, just kidding. Mallory Rhodes is Wild Peach Elementary's new Teacher of the Year. Mallory is a grow-your-own teacher, as she worked for Wild Peach Elementary as a paraprofessional while she finished her bachelor's degree. And by the way, Mallory is the first in her family to earn a college degree. That stands out in my memory from when I interviewed Mallory was that she had spent time working at Disney in the cast and crew department. And Mallory loves Disney. She wears her ears, and she quickly became known as our Disney princess. Well, most people think of Disney princesses as sweet, adorable, bubbly, but kind of lacking ambition and helpless. And quite honestly, I expected the tears and helplessness from Mallory as a first-year kindergarten teacher, but boy, did she prove me wrong. Mallory proved herself indeed to be a Disney princess. She's compassionate, caring, and resilient, like Cinderella. She's kind to those around her, even when they aren't being kind in return, like Snow White. She embraces her inner strength like Mulan, and she's hardworking and ambitious like Tiana, especially when it comes to lesson internalization. Mallory keeps calm when kindergarten's happening, such as gun signs and pants going where they shouldn't be, and vomit, and all the other things that happen in kindergarten. She keeps calm like Belle. And she's determined like Ariel. And most of all, she's brave in the face of difficulties like Pocahontas and Moana. I'm really proud of my Disney princess, Mallory Rhodes, who's used all of her inner princess strengths to help her students grow and succeed this year. I'm so very proud to recognize Mallory Rhodes as Wild Peach Elementary's new Teacher of the Year. And then we have Melanie Lackey, our Teacher of the Year. This is Melanie Lackey. You've met her before, too. She is, once again, our Teacher of the Year. Melanie Lackey is the shining North Star of Wild Peach Elementary Pre-K. She is strong in her leadership and unwavering in her determination to provide the most enriching and engaging pre-K experience possible. Ms. Lackey is the grandmother of 3 precious preschool-aged girls, and as such, she plans rigorous, engaging, fun-filled units with the excitement and wonder of learning that she would want her granddaughters to receive. Ms. Lackey mentors and coaches her team to help them understand how to execute the units in their classrooms so that children in other classrooms receive the same rich learning experiences as her students. She mentors and coaches new teachers on how to use data to help children grow. Ms. Lackey consistently communicates the mission and vision of Wild Peach Elementary as an early learning school by taking and sharing photographs of students enthusiastically engaged in hands-on learning. They don't do worksheets in their class. Ms. Lackey makes each of her students feel like they are the most special and important child in the classroom. And she treats all students with respect and love. She helps students with behavioral challenges learn to self-regulate. She helps students who are ready for more to shine and stretch themselves. Ms. Lackey is the model early learning teacher, and I am so proud to recognize her as Wild Peach Elementary Teacher of the Year.
You get a group picture, Sam?
Not yet. Squeeze it like each other. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Smile, 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 smile. Got it.
Congratulations. Next up, Barrow Elementary Principal Kogi.
All right. We're going to start with Miss Angie. I'm delighted to introduce our Outstanding Paraprofessional of the Year, Miss Angie. This award reflects her unwavering dedication, tireless efforts, and invaluable contributions to our school community. Ms. Angie exemplifies the highest standards of professionalism and commitment to our students' well-being and academic success. Whether providing classroom support, mentoring students, or assisting teachers, Ms. Angie consistently goes above and beyond. Now, she's a very good artist too. We have several good artists, but if we need her to make a poster, she can whip one up quick. Please join me in congratulating Miss Angie for this well-deserved recognition. Her dedication and hard work make a meaningful impact on our school and the lives of all of our students. We are very fortunate to have her as part of our team. Okay. All right, next we have Miss Petaway.
All right.
You're welcome. So it is with great pleasure and so much pride that I get to introduce you to Miss Petaway, our new Teacher of the Year. This award is a testament of her unwavering dedication, exceptional teaching skills in her first year, and profound impact on our students. Ms. Petaway has demonstrated an extraordinary commitment to excellence in teaching. Her innovative approach to education, coupled with genuine care for each student's success, has truly set her apart. She attended the CAS conference this year and came back ready to implement everything she learned. So students created songs to the lyrics of well-known songs, so Imagine Dragons, Taylor Swift, to mention a few, to help them solidify their knowledge of fossils. They exploded paint cans, exploded paint cans in the courtyard. And they even made science aprons. So one thing I did not mention is not only is her expertise in science, but her social studies knowledge goes way back. One of the things that she did, we didn't showcase it, she had the Wax Museum for Black History Month, and she just has done so much for our students this year. Definitely a lot of hands-on learning. This year, she has also spearheaded our very own Barrow Has Talent show for our families. She held a daytime show for our students and staff, and then put together an afternoon show or an evening show for all the families. Decorated, she did it all, including auditioned and stayed many of nights to make sure students were ready, gave feedback, so it was phenomenal. So please join me in congratulating Ms. Petaway for this well-deserved honor. We are privileged to have her as part of our faculty, and we look forward to her continued success and positive impact at our school. All right, last we have Ms. Johnson. I'll give it to you now, so I don't forget. So, Ms. Johnson is a true inspiration to both students and colleagues. Her exceptional commitment to student success is evident in everything she does. She goes above and beyond by structuring her schedule around special events that we have on campus, ensuring that all students receive the support they need to be successful. Ms. Johnson works weekly with our emergent bilingual students, helping them achieve their goals on their yearly TELPAS test. She strives to connect with every student, demonstrating her dedication by organizing a fiesta to celebrate the hard work and achievements of our students. That fiesta was something special. Her impact extends beyond the classroom as she collaborates with other teachers on campus to help them pass. Teachers in here will understand the dreaded Reading Academy artifacts. She is your go-to to help you with that. Ms. Johnson's passion for education and unwavering support for both students and staff make her a very valuable member of our team. I do want to also mention, in Ms. Johnson's 27 years of teaching, this is her first time to receive this recognition, so we're very proud of you. Can I come and take a picture with all of us?
Absolutely.
Come on.
I know. I was letting you do the talking, so Miller could tell you took too long.
We did all of her together.
Okay.
All right, next up, West Columbia Elementary, Principal Bolton.
Thank you very much. Have Miss Howard help me up here this morning. See, I know what time it is. First, I would like to start with our paraprofessional of the year, Mrs. Melissa Conrad. But you're wondering what I'm going to say. Ms. Conrad is a graduate of Stephen F. Austin, having earned a degree in interdisciplinary studies. She has been a para, yes, at WCE for 5 years. And in those 5 years, she has fulfilled multiple roles, including life skills, behavior room, and special education inclusion para. She has also stepped up and volunteered to chaperone our 5th graders at Camp Allen all 5 years. You would be hard-pressed to find a harder working paraprofessional on the planet than Mrs. Melissa Conrad. She is, simply put, an incredibly versatile para who can be given most any task, and with little to no direction at all, she will make it happen. Ms. Conrad always invests herself in her students to the utmost degree, laboring over their challenges and problem solving to help them achieve a win. She connects with her students at school and in the community. Now, no one will ever accuse Mrs. Conrad of being quiet or demure. But what fun would that be if she were? Ms. Conrad knows how to inspire a smile, take care of business, and get the job done. WCE would definitely be lacking without her on our team. We're blessed. And thank you. And next, our new teacher of the year, Mrs. Valeria Soto. She is very demure and quiet. Mrs. Soto is actually a native of Freeport, Texas, so when she joined our family, it was like she was coming home. She is a graduate of Texas A&M Corpus Christi with a degree in English and a minor in creative writing, which was excellent preparation for her taking on the role as a 4th grade reading language arts teacher for us this year. While I am thrilled with her first-year successes in the classroom, where she has fostered a love and passion for writing like I haven't seen in a very long time, she has proven herself most in her resiliency and tenacity. This year, Mrs. Soto completed her final internship year to earn her teaching certification, while simultaneously studying and preparing for her ESL examination and completing the Reading Academy, which is like taking on an additional graduate course. Mrs. Soto has given so much of her time, effort, heart, and passion into fulfilling her lifelong dream of becoming a teacher. She has definitely proven that she is made of the right stuff and will no doubt stand the test of time in this profession. And we are blessed to have her. And now for our Teacher of the Year, Miss Pam Sanders. Many of you might know Pam Sanders, our Teacher of the Year, as she is a 1981 graduate of Columbia High School. She graduated from Murray State University in Kentucky with a degree in elementary education, and boy, are we glad that she came back home. Mrs. Sanders has been a teacher in CBISD for 9 years, with her first 5 years in first grade and her last 4 years at WCE in third grade. And in those 4 years at WCE, I have seen Mrs. Sanders grow and blossom into a teacher who inspires other teachers on our campus, many of whom seek to emulate her practices. She is a seeker of knowledge who is always seeking out opportunities to learn more and improve in her instructional skills. This year, she joined our UDO cohort and is learning to incorporate more digital learning in her teaching as well. Ms. Sanders says that her teaching philosophy is to love her students first and then teach them, and it shows. It is impossible to adequately describe the loving family atmosphere and supportive climate that Ms. Sanders fosters in her room. But you can see it, and you can even feel it when you walk into her classroom. The students cheer each other on. They hold each other accountable for maintaining the behavioral standards of the room. They encourage each other to meet their goals, and they ceaselessly strive to meet her expectations. Why? Because they know that she would move the heavens and the earth for them to meet with it. Ms. Sanders' positivity, her willingness to reflect and improve on her own practices for the betterment of her students, her unwavering commitment to her students' growth and achievement make her perfectly suited for the title of Teacher of the Year.
The scoochie walk.
There we go. Oh, Penny.
Hold her face.
1, 2, 3, cheese. Thank you.
Congratulations.
All right, next up, West Brazos Junior High, Principal Miss Sarah.
So first up for our Paraprofessional of the Year is Miss Katie Shirley. Congratulations. All right, so Miss Shirley is a whatever it takes kind of person. She is in our life skills classroom. She does our in-class support, but all of the students in the classroom are her students. It doesn't matter if she's in there supporting her students, that she's in there to help, or if it's any student that has a question, she's there to help. She also is co-teach. She will jump in if the teacher goes over to help someone. She will take that lesson like she wrote it herself. So it's seamless and it is great fun to watch, and the students really appreciate it. So building off of that, she has that same relationship with the parents of her students and communicating, whether in school, outside of school. She's a big part of our community, and she is a liaison for our kids. She loves her students and she advocates for them. If she sees something that she needs attention brought to or something special for them that she feels would make their day, she's the first one to come down and say, hey, I had an idea. Listen, hear me out, is often what she'll say. And I appreciate that so much because she's advocating whether it's good, bad, if we're holding somebody accountable or if we're providing sunshine on something. And speaking of sunshine, she even came up with an idea to do gardens and even made that come to life for our students to watch and grow a raised garden outside at the end of last year. So that was good fun. You can see her in the hallway with Miss Bernardi on Fridays delivering coffee, or you can catch her in the art room helping all students draw. She's sometimes hard to catch because she is in all the classrooms or in PE or wherever really is needed, on the track even. And so you can tell that she's everywhere on campus, and she is a great colleague for all of our teachers, and I feel like that is the perfect reason why you are Paraprofessional of the Year. And I do have to share, she loves her kids so much, she's following them up, and we are going to miss her, but we are better having learned from Miss Shirley throughout these last few years, so I really appreciate her. All right. Next up, we have Jarrett Brown, Coach Jarrett Brown. Coach Jarrett Brown is our new Teacher of the Year at West Brazos Junior High. He's a CHS grad, and I can honestly say he is what encompasses writing for the C. If you go into Coach Brown's class, and this kind of took me back on the very first day of school, we were walking around looking at everybody setting up their classes, making sure that we're ready to go. And Coach Brown has his poster from his football from the fence hanging on the back of the thing, and his pictures from high school along with his graduation diploma. And I think that says a whole lot to our students. I had to take a deep breath and say, your classroom looks great, Coach, because it's exactly what our kids need. And he has proven that day in and day out that he is there for them. He's there to guide them. He will hold them accountable and have those hard conversations. But when I went in to deliver the news, because it's a surprise, it's a whole band that follows us down for new Teacher of the Year, all of his athletes started clapping in the weight room, and just congratulations, Coach Brown. It was a slow clap to a fast clap, and I think he really relates to our students, and he's there to cheer for them and guide them. And he jumped into 8th grade history, year 1. That's a tested grade, and he has been a huge asset to our campus, to our students, to our parents, the community, our athletes, and our staff. So congratulations. All right, and for our Teacher of the Year, Miss Hannah Bernardi. So I've talked often about Miss Bernardi throughout the year because I've been blown away with her willingness to step out and try new things with our life skills student. And if you have gone into a life skills classroom or two, because they have a sensory room next door and a classroom that they're in, there's a lot going on and there's a lot of need that is happening. And Miss Bernardi jumped in with the kindest heart and patience, and was from the very beginning willing to step out and try new things. She has created so many, hopefully yearly celebrations for our students. She brought in the coffee cart, and Fridays, it doesn't matter if it's the hardest, difficult conversation we're having at the office when they show up. The kids are excited, she's excited, they have cookies, and some of the cookies are truly amazing, but it brings smiles. No matter what kind of mood you're in, she's bringing smiles through the school, and even our students look forward to paper delivery, coffee delivery. If you want to find Miss Bernardi, sometimes you have to go looking because they're not always just in the classroom. They're in the sensory room, which they've created this amazing atmosphere for our students for breaks. They may be at the track, they may be going into the gym. There's a multitude of areas. I just text and find out where they are before I take off down the hallway. To give you some information on that, she finally, for the month of May, sent a list of dates. This is what we're doing on each day, added to the calendar. We're having Cinco de Mayo Day, come join at 10:30. We're having lunch with mothers, just experiences that our students truly will take with them, and they're so beneficial. And she is pushing forth with her team, with Miss Shirley, to make those memorable things happen. So without further ado, I want to introduce to you part of our awesome life skills team, but with the leadership of Miss Hannah Bernardi for Teacher of the Year. One more thing, she has created magic at the junior high, and magic has made all of our lives a lot easier. So we have students with boas, we have students that get certain dances, and Miss Bernardi brings magic wherever they go, and that has brought all of us smiles and happiness, so I forgot to put that in. All right.
Good job.
All right, smile. All right, thanks.
All right, and Columbia High School.
All right.
Principal Kenny.
Ms. Draco's making, yes, come on up. Wasn't sure she was gonna make it, she's gonna double dip. Get out of here, go to Little League real fast, right? Band. So I'll give you that. So I'd like to congratulate Ms. Dracos. In her time at CBISD, she's been in the library, she's been a classroom instructional aide, she's been in the behavior room, she's worked with autistic students. That's just this year. So that right there sums up our jack of all trades or do whatever it takes employee. She is willing to step into any role that we ask her to step into. She does it with a smile and she does it for the kids. Just so you know, she's in a tough transition room right now, and the way that we handle that is by doing karaoke in the hallway on Fridays. So if you want to see her sing a tune this Friday, we'll be able to do that, but I just want to thank you for everything you do for our students and your willingness to take on many different roles, wear many different hats, and do it all with a smile. Thank you very much.
Head off, sorry.
Cut my head off.
All of a sudden it wasn't there.
Next is Miss Lucci, Miss Reese Lucci. Did she make it? No? She told me she was gonna be here. Just real quick with her, it's a year of first for hers, first year teacher, first baby coming, held the first annual CHS Floral Showcase, first award of many is what we are gonna say. So congratulations to her, even though she was unable to make it. Ms. Nicole Valdez. So Ms. Valdez is our teacher of the year. She works with our dyslexic students, giving them skills to overcome them. They can do everything that any other student can do. They just have to work a little harder at it. So she helps motivate them and gives them the tools to do so. She's our 504 coordinator, which along the same lines is making sure the kids have what they need to be successful and that they know how to use those things. She advocates for her students in her classroom and in other classrooms. She'll talk to the teachers about students. She'll let the teachers know what they need. So she advocates for her kids, but the most important thing that she does on our campus is she teaches these kids to advocate for themselves. We're practice STAR test, and they are familiar with the testing platform. They've been with her, they've practiced it. And we had one come up to the front and said, Ms. Wilson, I don't have my accommodations, I'm missing this. And she knew ahead of time what it was, and she knew to go advocate for herself before she even started that test. And that is the most important things that we can teach these children before they walk out of our door, is how to be advocates for themselves and make sure they get what they need for their success. So with utmost respect, I thank you very much for all you do for our children.
No.
In our group, are you two coming? Get up here. Don't look at each other, just get up here.
All righty, smile. Perfect.
Thank you both very much.
Congratulations.
Before everybody leaves, I do want to say a couple of things, just a few things about the staff tonight. Principals, you did a fantastic job letting us know who they are. It was great to hear. A couple of things which you may not know, Nicole, she's following in her mother's footsteps. Her mother did this at Columbia High School and West Brazos Junior High for a long time, so that's great to see. Following in what the family did. Clarissa, proud of you. Right? It's a struggle and you did it. Jared, even prouder. For you don't know, that young man had every reason not to be successful. But he made an individual decision to be successful. And so when he hired him back, he made me feel good. Number one, because he's coming back. But he said, Mr. Gallo, you don't remember, I turned their tassels at graduation. So I'm the last one that gets to see him. And he said, you don't remember what you told me, do you not? He said, you told me, you're done here, go make a difference in the world. And he came back and said, I made a decision to come back here to do that here. So, thank you. Now's the time to leave. Business is about to start.
I love your princess. Thank you. Thank you. Good job, Stay to watch the whole way while we're leaving. No, you don't.
Do you need a ride home? Oh, if you would.
Before we go to campus communications, I just want to say we did time Barrow's speech tonight. So next year, when it's your turn, Ms. Galloway, we'll know how long you have to take to.
I'm gonna look at Miller's eyes, and when his eyes get cross-eyed, I'm gonna be done.
That's on.
He looked back about 30 seconds in with Mr. Kenny and said,
Oh, Barrow, Principal Cohee.
I get the blessing of talking tonight, so here I go. Quick, we already talked about the Derek Hand's Got Talent show. This is what Ms. Pettaway put together, and all of these wonderful individuals came out to show us their talents. You know, need to think about Brazoria. We don't have a whole lot of kids that are in Jana School of Dance. These kids were singing with no music instruction. We were riding and doing tricks on our hoverboard. We were doing our flag dances that we learned in church, but I was very proud of them to get up in front of their peers and their families and show their talents that they love to do. Of course, all of our lovely teachers, and I probably put this in here last year too, but better than 1,000 days of diligent study is one day with great teacher, and we have great teachers at Barrow Elementary. It was also Nurses Day, and we are blessed with Nurse Smith. You can't find a lot of nurses who go work in Houston Medical Center and come back to be a school nurse, but we got one, and she's wonderful. And then this is kind of our field day and our last PBIS splash bash. We put several of these in here this year. PBIS, we were working with conduct marks and discipline referrals to try to make a difference in our behavior in our school. So kids who got to participate in the fun water day at the end of the year had to have less than 20 conduct marks and less than no discipline referrals for the entire year. And we had an abundance of kids, so much so that we had to separate by second and third and fourth and fifth. So we had a wonderful week this week. Last week.
Wow, good deal.
Is that good, Miller?
Columbia High School.
Okay, so we'll try to do faster than that. So going on, steady as she goes, we're seeing beams go up. It's really exciting to see the stairs. As you walk by the cafeteria, from up into the cafeteria, you see the stairs. It's like you're seeing it take shape, and it's very exciting to see. So we've got that going on in the middle of everything, so it's nice to see that progression. We had some of our students go present at Rotary for their BCPC signing day. So they went out and had 4 different interviews out of the plants and were offered jobs. So these 4 were offered a job. I believe only 3 of them came to speak at Rotary. And so we're very proud of them, so they'll be continuing their education while they have a job. And their bosses are willing to work with them so they can continue to go to school. As I mentioned, Ms. Uchi having her first baby, she's pictured there. And it was our first floral showcase. I believe Mr. Galloway was one of the judges that came and judged some of the pieces there. Some of them were very extravagant, butterflies and everything, so it's pretty neat to see. She did certify, what would we come up with, 74, 78?
66.
But then the 10.
And then the 10, yes.
So she did get 76 floral certifications this year with her students. So very good to start the program.
Great.
And they came in, all 3 of our ag teachers are new with one mentor teacher mentoring them, and we've seen Ms. Uchi take on a great leadership role out in the ag building with her 2 gentlemen. So she's doing a great job, and she's growing that floral design. We're good to see her do that. Then we had our kickoff team go to state. The notorious PIG is the one that did well. It was kind of backwards from our expectations, but we're very proud of them. FBLA went to state. We had 1 student, Trailbreaks, who did qualify for nationals. So hopefully they'll be participating in that. Our health sciences I talked about last week, getting their certifications as well. So we're seeing all these kids get their CTE certifications to end up the year. We're very proud of each and every one of them. Baseball and softball both made the playoffs. Unfortunately, they both made some exits. A very thrilling first round for softball, who ended up going 3. They won the last 2 to go on in the series, but then they lost a couple of heartbreakers to Needville. The boys played a tough game against El Campo, but unfortunately came up short in their first rounds.
Good deal, thank you.
So we held our 2024 National Junior Honor Society. This year we inducted 48 members. We had a great turnout this year. We also held our annual Domino Tournament Championship, and you see our 2 7th grade students up there in the top right-hand corner who were the champions. They got trophies this year, so we've upped our game in 7th grade. This is something that they hold on to that championship for an entire year and brag about, so that year bragging rights is good. We've finished out our first year of Bout TV, so it has come to a close. I'm going to miss it this week, but the media team, with the help of Ms. Silva, has really stepped up and has been a great experience for us this year. We held our first time giving the TSI to 8th grade honors at WBJH with the help of the high school and Ms. Bailey coming over, and we were excited to do this so that we can start looking at backwards design in our instruction and start looking at how we can get more students to meet those expectations moving forward from this first initial time, and start getting our 8th graders more ready for high school. We also had Miss Hannah Bernardi, which just left, named as the secondary teacher of the year, and she cried when the flowers came down with Miss Tho. She is a super sweetheart. We had Stop the Bleed training offered, and we had students come down to Nurse Lamb's and learn how to stop the bleed, and that was a success. And we are offering our very first annual, hopefully it's annual 8th grade ceremony on Thursday. We're going to have a bridging ceremony for our 8th graders going from junior high to high school. So just giving them that experience of what to look forward to for graduation. And we've celebrated a lot at the junior high. In May, we had Administrative Professionals Day. We have some of the best. We had Nurses Appreciation Day. We believe we have the best. Nurse Lamb is amazing. And we ate a whole lot for Teachers Appreciation Week. Our PTO the teachers took a poll and said that they like to eat food during the day, and so they went above and beyond, and we ate all week long, and it brought lots of smiles and laughter and just a lot of fun. And so
Let's go to elementary.
All right, well, I want to start with something that's not actually my slideshow, because as y'all know, every year we do an amazing career day. It's Mrs. Erlin and Mrs. Walters at our school that organize it. It would take me way too long to show you all the pictures from our career day. So I'm just going to list for you the people who presented at our career today, not their names, but their professions. So we had a baker, electrician, plumber, police and law enforcement, firefighters, Coast Guard, scientists, microbiologists, nurses, EMS workers, neonatal flight nurse, a forensic law enforcement, chemical engineers, nuclear engineers, flight controllers for NASA, Postal Service, bankers, waste management sanitation engineer, detail, a freight broker, wood carver, a wrecker service, an entrepreneur, a technical project coordinator, an ag agent, someone from the railroad agency, construction planning, librarians, an industrial hygienist, HEB, a motorcycle instructor influencer, and a business marketing executive from NASA. Is that amazing?
Did you say influencer?
Yes. That's exactly what I did. So I just want, if you see Miss Irwin or Miss Walters in the community, please tell them what an amazing job they are doing, bringing in all of the, 95% of those presenters are parents of our students. They are not just organizations that they reached out to. They are actually family members of the students that go to our school. So that was an incredible 2 days that we had last week on Thursday and Friday. But now for the pictures. Of course, we were so excited because this year we brought back for the first time since COVID our kindergarten mommy makeover. And the kindergarten mommies were very excited about coming on campus and coming down to the cafeteria and letting their little ones put on their makeup and paint their nails and fix their hair. If y'all want to come next year and watch, you would really enjoy it. It is quite adorable. The next thing is, I want y'all to know that one of the things that we try to do at West Columbia Elementary School this year is inspire and empower our teachers to start a movement or to create a movement, to find something that they are passionate or excited about and do something fun with it. So we're really seeing some teachers here at the end of the year come up with some really creative things to do with the kids now that we're past our accountability measures and do some really fun and out-of-the-box learning. So one of the things I want to share with you is our 5th grade math teachers did a volume zoo. And they challenged the kids to bring in boxes from home and create a zoo animal out of the boxes and then calculate how much volume their zoo animal could hold. I thought it was that's one of many examples that we have of the activities going on. The next thing that I wanted to share with you is our 4th grade team. They are passionate about animals and they invited the SPCA to come to campus and share it with them about how animals are treated at the SPCA, how they collect them if they are lost, how they take care of them, how they place them with homes. And the teachers then took that to do all types of learning activities around the SPCA. So the GT class made healthy dog treats. The math teachers helped them calculate the sizes that they would need for cages depending on the size of the animal. Then they helped them make budgets of what would it take to adopt an animal and to care for it on an annual basis. Then the reading teachers had them write letters to new pet owners about how to care for their pets, and they wrote personal narratives about their own experiences that they had had with dogs. So we're very excited about that as well. The next thing is something that our student council sponsored, and that was a Coins for Kids collection donation for CASA. I don't know if y'all are familiar with CASA, but it is an organization that recruits volunteers and trains them to advocate on a voluntary basis for students who are in foster care. And at West Columbia Elementary School, we have quite a number of students who are in foster care or recently adopted out of foster care. And so this was very near and dear to my heart, and I was so thrilled that our student council agreed to raise money by putting all these cylinders in the classroom. The kids brought in the coins, and we raised $1,270.37 for CASA. So I was very proud of those efforts as well. And last, I wanted to highlight, we kind of had a theme of life skills teachers tonight. Our life skills teacher is always advocating for her kids to be inclusive in everything that we do across campus. And we were sharing different ideas when I used to be a life skills teacher of how I did it. And she created something called the Wildcatter Buddies. And these are general education students who have volunteered and signed a permission slip, have permission, to come down to the life skills classroom and help our life skills students when it doesn't interrupt with their own education. And these are some pictures here of our students coming from mainly the upper grades and 5th grade down to the life skills classroom and engaging these students in their learning and socializing with them. And one of the great benefits I saw about it was when I was in 5th grade lunch the other day, one of our students who's wheelchair bound and has a lot of very special needs was not sitting at the life skills table. He was sitting in the general education table because the students had invited him to come and sit with them. So I think she is achieving her purposes, and we're very proud of all the empowerment and movements that our teachers are trying to do.
Wow, Peach.
All right, best is last.
That's right.
So, you know we love science at Wild Peach, and we have Mr. Raymond who just absolutely gets the kids hyped up about science. Normally we do chicks around Easter, but Easter decided to have its own strange time this year. So we did chicks in May. The bottom middle picture, the children are doing what's called candling. They're looking at an egg through a bright light to see if there's life inside it. And this egg is all red. There's nothing in it. It's kind of a dead egg. But Mr. Raymond got incubators through some science funding. We put the incubators in the cafeteria where the children can watch the incubators every day. And hatching time is the most exciting time of all. The kids We put a camera on it so the kids can see it happening all throughout the day. And we put the hatchlings in a brooder that's in the cafeteria, and that is the most visited station in the cafeteria during breakfast and lunch. We have to go sit down now so someone else can look. And then we don't let them touch until the chicks are a couple of weeks old. And we teach them that you have to touch it softly with one finger because 300 kids touching the babies would kill them. But they just love to touch those babies and they're amazed by how soft they are. So chick hatching, it's one of our most favoritist science activities of the year. We've been doing a lot of family involvement activities as well. March was a hectic month and we did not get to do Texas history, but hey, San Jacinto Day came along in April, so our Texas program became a San Jacinto program. Our first graders sang Texas songs and gave short narratives about the symbols of the great state of Texas. We also celebrated Cinco de Mayo to honor the heritage of our Hispanic students, and the parents were very appreciative of the fact that their students' culture was recognized. And to honor Mother's Day and Father's Day, we had lunch with loved ones, and the cafeteria was packed for all of the lunches. The families really enjoy getting to come and interact with the kids on special days. Again, we love science, and all of our field trips have some sort of science connection. Our pre-K kids went out to Oyster Creek to a place called Harvest for the Hungry, which is a working farm that provides food to the community and to the food bank. And the kids got to see chicks. They got to see what eggs from different hens looked like. And then they were given cards to match eggs with hens. Eggs look different if they come out of a different hen. Who knew? They got to see a bee colony. They like to stomp on the bees on the playground, but they'd never seen a beehive. And then they had picture cards, and they had to go around and match the picture card to the plant. And they got to see things growing that they'd never seen before. So it was a really good adventure for our pre-Ks. We took our first grade to the Houston Museum of Natural Science at Sugar Land, which is a smaller version of the big Houston Museum of Natural Science over at Herman Park. They had dinosaurs. They had hands-on activities for the kids to explore physics. They had geology specimens, and that was probably the best field trip we've taken for first grade in a long time. They want to go back next year. And last but not least, we're counting down to kindergarten, we're counting down to first grade, we're counting down to second grade. And each day the teachers do an activity with their kids, such as ice painting on I Day, reading with a ring pop on R Day, doing jelly bean math on J Day, and marshmallow shapes on M Day. The coolest one was picking a new name on N Day. Some of those names were really creative. This is Flower, also known as Brennan. There were several Ms. McCarthy's. P was for popping popcorn. They've never seen popcorn pop. Oh, man. O was for exploring an owl pellet. Initially, it's ew, and then they really get into it. And you would not believe how many kids have never flown a kite. So K was for Kite Day, where they got to fly a kite. So we've been having a lot of fun counting down to the next grade level. And that's Wild Peach.
Good deal.
Very good.
Need communication this month. I assume there's no citizens to be heard, Chief?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We'll go to reports.
All right, first up, maintenance, Justin.
All right. Well, first, recently, a couple of representatives and I have walked the grounds or in the buildings. A couple of representatives with E3, that's the LED and HVAC project we've discussed. We walked around, did audits, walked the sports fields well after dark, doing the candle foot power meters, and kind of a baseline before and afters. Looking at mechanical equipment, finding out all the areas that we can make improvements that are applicable to this project and where we will see the most savings or rebates with that. So now that that's all kind of catching traction, they're compiling a bunch of data on that to give us a plan of, hey, this is where we should start. These are the areas that we should start in, and this is the equipment that we should focus on to maximize all our savings. With that, I am also working with Texas New Mexico SCORE program for incentives and rebate monies associated with that project coming back to the district, as well as any incentives that may apply due to this new construction. So those are all in the works. It's kind of up in the air just yet. I don't have enough details to give you any kind of, we're either here or here, but the wheels are in motion on that. Otherwise, maintenance is pretty much just focusing on the day-to-day stuff, but also gearing up towards graduation so that we can try to get all that set up and, as usual, have everything without a hitch, weather permit. Other than that, I really don't have a whole lot for you guys tonight.
Such a boring life you have.
Be glad to let you wear my hat, Fred.
So was it looking promising on the E3 thing, kind of what they thought and everything?
Pardon me, say that again, please.
The E3 audit, I mean, when he came and spoke, he talked about different things, that those all kind of
Everything,
matching up pretty well.
everything's looking pretty promising.
Good. And he should be through probably with his audit 45 days?
Depending on how soon we can get some information back from Texas, New Mexico, we're shooting for probably the week after graduation.
Oh,
to be fine.
okay.
That's our goal.
Yeah.
But it's really hinging on how fast we can get that information.
Good, okay. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Good deal, sir.
Safety and security?
Don't have a lot for you this month. Nothing has changed much. We did get the silent panic alert technology finished. We're waiting to roll that out this summer so that we can train the teachers and the staff for the next school year. But we have met that requirement as set forth by the school safety standards. They're still working on the caulking. Hopefully that will be done by the end of June. The bullhorns are in district. Now we're working on getting them scheduled to be fixed. So hopefully we can get that done here pretty quick. But all the other items that you approved back in October have been completed. We're just waiting on a couple of those big ticket items. Chief's form for his monthly sheet is in your folder. Chief, do you have anything to add?
No, other than the receipt of 3 calls for service we had. Y'all been about the phone calls, about the scams, the phone scams. Worked on that. I've reached when I retired from HPD, we had one of the top-notch crime analysis for HPD. She's done a lot of research. It's a scam. It's a voice override on the IP address. They're tracking it down to somewhere in Michigan. Find out who that is. Good luck.
Yeah, Detective Wilcox, though, right?
Yeah, Detective Wilcox, yeah. So when I first got the first call, it was a scam, we knew, but it's getting more broader to different schools. So I keep reminding people, officers tell everybody, notify the sheriff about it. So that's all I have.
Okay. Thank you. Instructional report.
Mr. Miller.
All right, so instructional report, just an update. Usually this time of year, I give you an update on where we are.
They have something in their folder?
Yes, looks like this. And the letterhead should be right there at the top somewhere. The one pager, front and back. It's like this, says Columbia, Missouri across the front. Everybody got it?
Yes.
So what this paper, essentially, as you may or may not know, all of our CTE programs or our programs of studies are aligned to a certain set of courses, and in those set of courses, the state offers certifications. There are not certifications offered in everything, but there isn't a lot of them. And so every year, one of the goals that we have in order to help us in our college and career readiness measurement, which helps us in accountability, is to get kids certified or get students certified. So this is something that I try to go over with y'all every year as far as where we stand. Certification, we're not quite done yet. We still have some certifications left to do that they're still testing. But just to give you an idea where we at in our business management cluster, which is our business courses, we've had 25 students pass PowerPoint. These are all out of Microsoft Office Suite. 31 have passed Outlook. 152 students have passed the Word test. 26 of those students have passed the Word Expert. That's mainly our BIM 2 students. 60 kids have passed Excel, and the hardest test out of that whole suite, which is Excel Expert, we only had 1 kid pass it this year, and the second hardest test, which is the Access Expert, we've had 6 kids pass this year, which is quite a few kids. They've changed the rules. Used to be you automatically qualified for CCMR when a kid passed Word. They now have since changed the rules. You have to pass Word and Word Expert, and then starting in 2026, it'll be you have to pass Word, Word Expert, and complete the program of study. So they're making it harder and harder on us because our kids keep getting better at it, and our teachers keep getting better at offering certifications. But of course, they just think that just needs to be harder. So that's coming. So education cluster, we're transitioning. There's a bit of transition education cluster. We're trying to convert PALS over to the education side. We've only got 3 students this year that have educator certificate aides, meaning we could hire them once they graduate from high school, and they can start working in a district. This kid could go to college, or a student could go to college and start going to college, drive a school bus, start paying into TRS, and already get years. So it's a pretty good thing, and there's a lot of people that have done that. So that's something that's pretty exciting, and hopefully 4 years from now, some of those young men and women will come back and we can hire them back to be maybe teachers or coaches or future administrators in this district. Mr. Kenny talked about the plant science, which is part of our, basically our ag program. Plant science is one of our most popular courses, believe it or not. It is the fine art course now for those kids that don't do band and choir, and the small amount that do art. That class is usually loaded. You got about 150 kids a year that are in that class, loaded throughout the day. She does that all day long, every day. And she was able, so 68 students passed the floral general knowledge, which is basically the general knowledge test. And then of those, she gives them the options, the ones that want to. She takes them up to Houston. I think they go to Cypress, if I'm not mistaken. Klein, they go to Klein, bus them up to Klein so that they can do hands-on testing, meaning they make arrangements and all those kinds of things. And we had 10 of those students pass the level 1. On the animal science side, very happy with Mr. Harris and the job he's done this year. We haven't had many certifications on the animal side in a long time. We've had a few veterinary certifications, but he took the bull by the horns, figuratively there, literally, and did some things on the animal science side. The equine science kids, he was able to find a certification for them that was recognized by the state that counts towards accountability, and he got 16 of them certified. He took 29 kids that were in the advanced animal science class and found them a certification. He was able to get 4 kids in his vet med class to pass the basic veterinary medical applications, and we did have 1 kid pass the certified vet assistant test. Did that today, made a 90 on the test, did very well. So we're very proud of her. That's very difficult to do for a high school kid. Mainly the contact hours that go with it.
Need a name.
Right.
Well, it's Miss Sorensen, the WC's nurse's daughter.
Yeah.
That's what she wants to go to vet school.
Yeah. Also, Mr. Harris, through the environmental and natural resources side, and I've been trying to get him to do this for a long time, they just never have, is the Ducks Unlimited Ecology Conservation and Management Certificate. Had 15 kids pass that. And then Mr. Medill did an outstanding job. The NCCER Core certification is very difficult. Not so much for the students, but for the instructor, because the the amount of record keeping that they have to keep for each kid it's pretty, and for a long, and we haven't are willing to do that, and he did that this year, and we received the results today, and he was able to get 72 kids certified in that, which is big if a lot of those kids go out to the plant, because that's just one less thing that they have to do, because more and more of them are requiring it for them to be out there. So, good thing. Our health science program, you've known about it for years. The problem, we certify every kid that's in the program every year. She actually found room for a couple more. Usually it's 10, we cap it at 10, but she was willing to take 12. She had a couple early graduates that she wanted to get in there. And so with that, we always have small numbers, which is why we're wanting to expand that program with the bond, is because, you know, you're limited, especially when you're in the hospital setting, as far as the number of kids that you can have that you can observe and supervise. So that's why that number is always constantly right there. Culinary side, I just found out today we got 6 certified in our food protection management program. And if you flip the page, we're still working on, Mr. Medill is working on his welding, his AWS 9.1 welding certs. We still have some kids doing food protection management, and I know they tested in today in phlebotomy.
Phlebotomy, they have
Which is the
9
first time, you know, we had 9 pass today in phlebotomy, which is the first time we've ever had kids take that test. We started that this year, and we look forward to expanding that program. And the entrepreneurship kids will be tested too. So far this year, we have a grand total of 537 certifications that have been earned. And now those aren't singletons. There are duplicated students, meaning you might have a kid that earned 3, 4, 5 certifications. That's not 537 kids. That's 537 certificates. So I broke that down where that compares. What's that look like from year to year? So my data, I started recording this data, it was back in 2018 when the certificates started counting towards accountability, and you see where we've come from since then, and you see right there in the middle, you see the effect of COVID, particularly on the 21 school year, because that was our half in, half out year, not half in, virtual, and students had the option whether to come that year. And you can see that's when we dipped the most, because if they weren't here, they weren't showing up to take certification tests. So we've climbed to, we're over 100 more, and we're not even done yet than where we were last year, which is a great thing. Just some data there for you. Then I grouped it by cohort. So if you look at where we stand right now, the class of 2024, you have 101 students that have earned a certification, which is 51% of that cohort. So 51% of the class of 2024 has earned a state-recognized industry-based certification. Class of 25, you have 139 students, or 61%. Class of 26, you have 151. That's your sophomores. You already have 151 students that have earned at least one certification, which is 63%. And then the freshmen, 114 of the freshmen in 1 year have already, which is 47% of that class, have already earned a certificate. So if you compare that with data from the previous years, you'll see several years ago we came to the board, and one of our goals for CCMR was always to have about a 40% certification average, and you can see that we're doing pretty good. We did that for a long time, and now we're starting to get up in the 60s. So it's a good thing. A lot of people always ask, you know, what's going on in the career and technology area. This is part of it. Okay? Any questions?
Very good. Thank you much. Financial report.
Okay,
Sterling.
so real quick, Ray talked about the financial report for the month.
They have it.
Budget
You should
meeting.
have an updated copy in there. It's 2 pages, one.
We'll start
Expenditures.
with just our financial, because I wanted to real quick update on something. So we had
You'll let
talked
them find
about,
it first so that they can follow along.
is the financial report.
Yeah, they've got several stuff in there, because the principals put stuff in there too.
Oh, okay, this is actually on the board book.
Yeah, so.
I'm sorry, it's on the board. It's just the monthly financials. So I had mentioned about our property taxes being slow getting in. So I called and talked to Kristen at Brazoria County, and she said some of the reason is because they had a record number of lawsuits. So some of the tax revenue they projected us to have, it's caught up in a lawsuit. And so they've settled some of them, but he said they still have quite a few from last year that they're still working on. So that was the answer on why our revenue was coming in slower than projected. Now, over to the revenue and expense sheet that's in your paper. So after our meeting, I think I mentioned during our meeting that Casey had just given us revenue projections that day right after lunch. And so Friday, he was going through that with me. I told y'all he was going to kind of go over what I had filled in compared to what he had done on the OMAR template. And in the course of that, he found an error in the T-values that he had given us. And so if you'll notice on the state funds on the revenue, it's increased about $630,000 from what he originally projected, just from an error he made in one of his calculations. So that's the difference that you're going to see on the state funds. You'll see the $12,548,000 compared to the $11,920,000 you had gotten Thursday night. So that kind of helped us. Everything else.
You slept better that night, didn't you?
I did. I did. And also, you'll notice that miscellaneous revenue, which is our 313. I think, Jonathan, you mentioned all the money coming to the school instead of split funding it with the Education Foundation. So I put that in there under the miscellaneous revenue, the whole amount that we got last year, because we don't have our projections yet for next year. So I figured we would get at least as much as we got last year. And so that's the difference there. Other than that, everything on the revenue side pretty much stayed the same. If you go to the expense side and you compare the operating fund, where I had given you Thursday night of $30,641,000, you see that's dropped to $30,360,000. If y'all remember, we talked about, we met Thursday night, but Friday was the last day for resignations and things like that. So this morning I redid it based on where we are right now with the ones that the admin council, Stephen, we kind of got together and talked about who we would not, the do not fills that we talked about, of people who have resigned that we don't plan on filling their positions. And so I redid the projections for the salaries based on that. And so you'll see a difference there of about $300,000. And so that's why if you notice at the bottom of the expenditure page, the number that was 1.7 is now 683. Again, this still does not include any kind of raises. This is just basic where they're at now. Also, on the raise scenario, since the actual salaries were lower, the projections on a 1% raise would be about $206,000, a 2% raise would be about $413,000, and a 3% would be about $620,000. So that would be in addition to this $683,000 we have here. And so we also met today and went over other areas that we felt like we could find some cost savings. Stephen has he has the list written out of the things that we discussed.
So, talking about a scenario, how's this going to work? We've talked about tax ratification election later. We've talked about deficit budget, but you also got to talk about cash flow, right? You got to talk about the 25% in fund balance remaining in fund balance if you're going to keep that mark. What's left for cash flow purposes without digging into the rest of it and trying to gather that. Long story short, there's not a big deficit you could have and still have cash flow, right? So we talked about that number of what could be a deficit budget. So here are things that are continuing. Number one, we've talked about the teacher apprenticeship program. And that's going to be a gold mine in several different ways for us. But it'll be year 2 before we really experience a bigger, there'll be some savings in year 1, but the more we use it, the better we get, right? So but right now, that number, we can't calculate that number. It's an expectation because the people in that program, number one, it depends on what school they're going to. Brazos Poor College, there's grants that come to us if they go there. If they choose the Teachers College, there's a huge benefit to us if they do that. There's the workforce interviews and seeing what they get, so there's got to be, for us to actually calculate a good number, they've got to be successful in all of those. But we continue to look at that in every possible way we can. So there will be benefits to us. Again, this budget that Julie's brought forward, I told you that number is nothing hidden. In this budget, she increased the maintenance account, if you want to call it that, $285,000. The large majority of that is going to be insurance, right? So I don't know if there's a whole lot there's some we could consider and take it back, but the major part of that 285 is the expectation that when we get into the spring and do insurance again, it's going to go up again. And being out with the money in the budget to be able to cover that.
So in that, do we have the new building in that budget? Because
No.
It won't be added.
The minute we add new, we'll be taking others away though.
We've taken away a lot of the high school that we didn't put on our list that we knew were gonna be torn down.
Yeah.
So we'll have to just revisit our whole list of
because when are we supposed to take the gym?
November.
So that's when the builder risk policy will go away.
Now, we're not going to have the whole thing because it's not going to be complete.
Correct, right.
So that's going to be a conversation piece.
Okay.
Transportation, we did, Julie put an additional $115,000 in transportation. And that's over and above what was budgeted this year, right? Other things?
Are we gonna get a bus? What's that?
Well, no, that's
Fuel.
It's just the cost, the part cost, everything that went up this year and went over budget. I raised it because it's not likely, we could not have to use it, but it just depends on the cost of parts and.
Is that like a 3-year average or just last year?
I just went over last year.
So, anyway, I'm giving you numbers that you could cut and we could chance it. You cut it in half, those kind of things. Foundation did get $190,000 this year. Child nutrition. So,
but you put the 190 in for next year, right?
I did for next year, but I didn't include what we got.
We're talking about the foundation making up. Child nutrition. We talked about the child nutrition fund balance. One of the things that we could do with that, looking at that fund balance, it is possible to use child nutrition fund balance to supplement the maintenance budget for part of the utilities that they use in the prep and the serving line. So we could actually calculate some of that money and transfer a certain amount of that money into the general budget to cover that cost.
So Justin, he did square footage for the kitchen and serving area and compared to total square footage. And if we took that same percent of the electric bill and projected it's gonna be around $1 million this year for the whole electric bill, it'd save us about 120 to 140.
Now with
That could
this,
come out of child nutrition back into general budget.
with this child,
We have about 500,000 of that fund balance, if you remember right from the other night.
yeah, okay, so about 500.
Yeah.
About 500, so if you take 120 out, you still have a fund balance.
So with this new budget for child nutrition, does that include the breakfast?
No,
No.
this child nutrition I have not updated because we still are talking about the CBISD.
So Dan, one of the questions you're probably gonna ask is how's child nutrition doing this year? We're probably gonna finish about $15,000 to $30,000 to the good. So it's almost gonna be a break even.
That's good.
This year. Now, that doesn't include unpaid meals though, I bet you.
No, it does not.
You don't know what that balance
No, I
is.
don't know what that balance is.
So it'll still
It's
be.
usually 30, 35, somewhere
Yeah.
for that range.
So, other things, we talked about workers' comp. You know, with that fund being depleted, Julie came up with a calculation to actually put about $200,000 back into workers' comp. You can look at not putting that in. You know, right now, we do have this current year, we have 4 individuals that we've paid on, plus the maintenance to run it. All of that's less than $100,000. So as long as nobody else adds to the list, again, do you put the money in there and not use it, or do you cut it out so that you can get your budget under control?
Because we could actually run that as a deficit, it would just show on the audit, and then we could refund it once the new biennium comes and we know what that's
Right,
gonna
well,
be, right?
if you remember,
'Cause we had a
few
deficit
months
balance a
ago,
while.
we did, but y'all funded 200,000 out of fund balance.
Yeah.
I don't remember what month. So that's in there. And so I would say with what we've spent, we still have about 100, 150. So our fund balance right now is okay. So it would just be going forward.
I mean, because if we just had 150 in there right now, and we left just 150 in there, we can always add $100,000 or $200,000 in there later.
Down the road.
As you need it. We don't
You
have
currently
to.
have budget to increase that each
I
year.
have it budgeted per person, per salary, per person. We've included, I think it was 0.85%. That would give us about 200,000 a year. We just didn't want, before they were doing more than that, and that's why we had such a big balance, and we quit doing, they
Shut
quit
it all
holding
down.
it, yeah.
Correct.
So now we calculate every person's salary, a percent to go into fund balance just every month, into workers' comp every month, but we don't have to do that.
I would definitely say hold that for next year.
Other things that we've looked at, we talked about, one of the things I'm doing with Lynn Eubanks, our PIMS director right now, is looking at calendar. I told you that I've dug into the calendar, looking at what days kids come to school, what they don't, what's benefit do we actually need to go back and change our calendar based on that. I will tell you that today we were able to find taking what's considered a waiver. We could request a waiver from TEA based on low attendance, specific days at campuses. And so Lynn and I sat down and went through that today and looking at every campus on low attendance days. One thing we found, like we had a freeze day when we started two hours late. The attendance was horrible, right, at multiple campuses. At the high school, the Friday after the Thursday night football game, the attendance rate was 60% at the high school. So if you ask me, what are we going to do in the future? We will never play another Thursday night football game in playoffs when it's that far away. Just not going to happen.
Yeah.
You play on Saturday, you're not playing on Thursday. Right? It's just, you know. So looking at that, we found that if we turned those in, that we would actually improve a little over $200,000. Meaning 200,000 more than what we're expecting to get right now. We also have other things we're looking at. Are there specific low attendance days? You know, I talked to you about the number of instructional minutes you got to have to turning in, and what if you go to school extra? You have the extra instructional minutes. Could you take a district-wide low attendance day out? And so all of that's looking favorable right now. So I feel comfortable saying we're going to be able to get at least $200,000 there. Now again, when that gets turned in, that's in that famous settle up right at the end. And so you're looking at August, September before you see that, right? Other things we've talked about when it comes to district travel for staff and for students, we could basically take that. When I say take it, it's still in the budget, but we take it and we manage it. As an example, the way chargebacks are done with transportation, you know, if you have this athletic team and their coaches are certified to drive a bus, then they can leave and go, and it's cheaper for us to be able to do that. We have some groups that have no certified bus drivers, and when we do that, our bus drivers have to do it. And what happens, not only does it cost more money to do that, But because they're our bus drivers and they drive all day long and then they drive at night, we wind up paying a lot. We calculated the amount of overtime we paid in transportation this year, and it's ridiculous. And that's what happens, and that's kind of, programs don't pay attention to that because they don't know, right? That's not their business.
So would it be a good incentive to try to get each department?
We give $500 supplements for each sport or in band because it's for fall spring. And so, some people are making $1,500 extra to be certified to drive a bus. But that's where it comes into you know, it would be cheaper for a teacher that's certified to drive a bus to drive at night than it would be for the bus driver because of the overtime that's involved. And so, long story short, if we managed it from the central office, we would probably save some dimes. That's what I'm getting at.
Don't our coaches, aren't they certified to drive buses? So how does that work? Does that save us money? Do they get paid to drive the bus?
They get $500.
Do we do their CDL?
Not during the school day. They don't. Not during the school day.
Wait.
If they drive to the athletic event, they get a stipend for being a bus driver. They don't get paid a mileage or anything like a normal bus
They get
driver.
paid 18 cents a mile.
They do.
18 cents a mile.
Oh, they do? Wait a minute. Do we pay for their CDL?
No.
So they get a stipend, they get mileage, what else? Is that it? What did you say? You said something over there.
No, that's what it was, the 500 per sport.
Oh, that's the stipend.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all were talking at the same time. I was trying to figure out what he said.
Yeah,
That saves us money?
I think that they, like if they.
Because if it does, the overtime would be triple, Linda. The overtime we're talking about for the bus drivers would be triple
Yeah.
the amount. Because we would, all of our,
$30+.
it would be our bus drivers that are driving everything,
Plus wait time.
plus wait time.
I didn't watch the game.
Yeah. And then you run into the, like if a bus driver was to be here at 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning,
The hours. Yeah.
and then finish the afternoon out, and then drive, say, to a baseball trip to El Campo, starts at 7:30, doesn't get over till 10. It's
pay them
midnight
for the
before they
wait
get
time.
back. They get paid for the wait time, and then sometimes by the time they get back, there's not enough sleep time for them to be able to drive in the morning.
Then you gotta find somebody,
Then you gotta find somebody, you know.
because they gotta be off the road X amount of hours.
Right. So anyway, same thing with supply accounts. We could do the same thing. This money does include substitutes. Julie put substitute money in. We could take it back and manage substitutes from the central office.
How much is in there for subs?
I don't know.
I can look it up, keep going, I can find out.
This budget does include overtime, so basically she looked at salaries this year and overtime earned, and she has an amount in there for overtime. The construction, much like we did with child nutrition and looking at utilities, our utilities are a little bit higher this year because of the instruction going on here. You could do the same calculation and pay the operating budget out of bond funds for utilities as far as the construction by doing that calculation. So, anyway, those are just some things that could be done on top of the other things we talked about.
I
know last year's budget, we used part of the shores.
181.
Last year's budget, we used part of the shores fund balance to make that balance. Is there anything left in the shores fund balance?
Yes, based on, and I don't think we'll go over budget on that, but there's about 508 left in there, and then projecting for next year, and we left the nurses in there. It would use like 8,000 of fund balance next year, so we'd still be over 500,000 in fund balance. So we did leave the nurses in there, but it's only like 7,000 more than what we expect to get in. So the fund balance was just kind of remains stagnant. But we took everyone out but the nurses.
So theoretically, we could probably pull another 300 out of that for next year until we get to the following year to try to build it back up. I wouldn't want to go to zero, but.
Right? Yes, we have about 500,000 left. Depends on how long you want it to go. I had left some in there and you told me not to put any more in than what we expected revenue. So I just left the nurses and then our expenses that we have to come out of charge, just our supplies and stuff like that. But that would still, and two, the revenue that I projected is just kind of, I mean, it is truly a projection, not knowing, last year they changed it mid-stride, so
Right.
we didn't get what we thought.
But I thought we already had the calculation for
We
what
do,
was.
but it was a good 150, almost 200,000 less than what we thought. So where we thought we would end up at 700,000 in fund balance, we're not, just because of the change in how they calculated.
So one of the main things she's talking about is, so in our special needs buses, right, we have the monitors that basically provide nursing care while they're on the bus. And so one of the calculations she's talking about is they come back with a recoding saying that bus monitors don't get it. Now, if we were to move those people from bus monitors into a campus instructional aide at the campus that kid went to school with, and the aide got in the car and drove the transportation from the campus, got on the bus in the morning and went, and then got off the bus with the kid at the school, then you could calculate it.
And a lot of the schools are changing the titles from bus monitor to, what was it?
Instructional para, or personal care.
Personal care.
But that'll be the next thing to go away.
Yeah. All we need is 1 year.
Exactly right.
Well, at least y'all looking at everything, that's the good thing. I mean, it looks like we, just by,
It's a lot more manageable.
so how much can we sue that guy for the mental anguish for that mistake he made on you for extra $1 million? We should go get something out of that one, huh?
I was just glad he found it.
Good. We're heading in the right direction. Do we need to have it meeting the 1st of June?
That's gonna be up to y'all. I mean, we can put to something, I mean, we were kind of looking for green light items here, right? Because there's enough on the page to get you close. We just need to know what's a green light item and what's not a green light item. And then we can recalculate it, and that'll let us know if.
I know you had mentioned when you talked about a deficit fund balance, when I had said what I didn't think we could go past. You said I had said 1.1 is the max we could do. And that's just if our fund balance remained the same. And so you said no, about 800,000. So we were trying to keep all of this within that to do the deficit budget. Is that still where you're at on it?
That's what I would think. Yeah.
Okay.
So do y'all just want us to take some of this and bring it back like, I mean, you said like, if we could do 300 to SHARs, if y'all are okay with doing about 120 out of child nutrition, we can take those green light items.
Those type of things, I have no problem. I think that's okay with that. I have an issue with taking the money back from the foundation that we gave them.
No, that was, yeah,
I mean, I know you said that, but I mean, we've already made it, but next year's, I mean, I think we do the thing.
I think that the workman's comp for sure, I mean, that's a pretty easy one.
Those electricity.
Yeah, child nutrition. Things that we can kick down a can for a year. I mean, like I say, I really, I have to hope that the next biennium they do something.
Well, if something changes, we can
There's, every district is complaining in the state, so they have to do something.
There is some chatter out there, right?
There's a bunch of chatter.
There is some chatter.
I've not read one article that one school is in the positive. You know.
So if y'all are okay with that, then we'll just sit down, and then in your Friday board letter, we'll put an updated copy with an explanation of what we've done and where we sit at, and y'all see how you feel about it.
I would definitely take the 200,000 out of the facilities in there to free that up. The 81.
Okay, don't increase, okay.
The 81.
The function 81.
Oh, that 200,000?
I would take that out for next year.
Okay.
Use that for y'all. And if we have, Hopefully, most of those items would come from the E3 thing, because those are going to usually air conditioner type situations we have to do. And we'll just have to be, I know there's a small amount in Justin's budget to do painting and stuff like that in the summers. To me, next year, we're just going to have to kind of ride that wave. With that junior high, we do have some bond money set aside that's over there that we could use from that standpoint.
Well, it's talking about projects, those chillers need to be the first on the list.
Yeah.
I don't know what the wait time's gonna be, but that's the, I mean, according to Jared and E3, that's number one on the list. Get going.
Do we hope our enrollment will go up, or do we have any idea about?
We project it down like 10 kids. So that's our projection.
Our question is what's gonna happen at pre-K and K? Right, because
And we don't know till it happens.
right, until they get in first grade, right, even K to first. And so that, it's always 3 years ago, Wild Peach, we had a big hiccup about 90 less kids at Wild Peach.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
And that's what's gonna happen with the early childhood, right? And Wild Peach will be busy the 2 weeks before school starts, when everybody's showing up.
Well, they have a great reputation and a lot of fun stuff, and it's all in the parking lot for everybody to see. So you would think they would want to bring their kids, Good job, Mary.
David's been out at Walmart. He's going to Iglesia across the street. He's been out passing out pre-K packets. And for some reason, people aren't aware that we have pre-K.
Yeah.
And then there's people that live on Mr. Galloway's street that try to say that they are low income and need to come to pre-K.
What are you saying about my house?
I have a very nice house.
Your neighbors are saying.
And if you can live on that street, then you don't need pre-K based on income.
Not unless there's 5 families.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you never know. They're homeless.
Yeah, I have some of those.
All right, so we'll get you close and then we'll see if we need to. I think we're gonna get you pretty close, that it's gonna be a manageable thing, I really do. But, I mean, regardless, it's gonna have to be, I personally think we're gonna be able to make something work. Right? The question is how much more we pay people and all of that. But I don't think there's any doubt it won't be able to happen second year. I think whatever you're past, you're gonna have to indicate that if the funding levels don't change, we're not gonna have a choice but to RIF or do a tax ratification election or both. Right? I just don't.
If a TRE fails, can you do it again? Or you get one shot?
You do it every year. But once you pass it, it's good.
It's only in November?
You can only do it in November elections. And, quite honestly, looking at this November versus next November,
Yeah.
but.
Okay.
Good.
Graduation ceremony.
Mr. Kenny.
So you should have a graduation report in your folder. I'll just kind of go through it quickly and then answer any questions if you have them. Right now, we've got 199 students set, ready to walk the stage and graduate. We have one student, high need student, that is graduating, but he is not walking. He will stay with us for a few more years, transitional years. 12 early graduates. We have 14 students that have submitted IGCs or are supposed to be submitting IGCs. 11 of them have completed and are signed off on. We're waiting on 3. A couple of them had 3 tests that they had to take, and we can only take 2 IGCs. So they did 3 IGCs, submitted all 3 of them, but we're waiting to see what the test results are. They have to pass at least one of those tests in order to graduate. So we're waiting on those test results. We've got 9 students that we're watching very, very closely. We're hounding, we're checking on every day, making sure that they're making the progress they need to make. I'm telling them that they're getting my beard even more gray than it's been, and I don't need their help, but they're more than willing to help. Looks like we'll have at least 5 students that will roll over to summer. Looking at what they need to get completed, it'd be hard pressed for them to get done in the amount of time that they've got left. So we're anticipating them rolling over into summer and doing that summer graduation here at the boardroom. Hopefully they get that.
Remind them that they're doing graduation, don't quit.
Exactly. Exactly. So we've got 151 distinguished diplomas, 53 foundational diplomas. Now that's more than the 199 because that does include some of those that we're waiting to see, do they get it done? So that's why those numbers.
So the 199 doesn't include the 14 and the 9 and the other one?
It does not include the 3 incomplete.
Okay.
It doesn't include the 9, right? It does not include all of the 9, but some of them it does because the 9 also includes those 3 that are in IGC. So there's some that are in multiple areas.
Okay. So the 53 and the 151 is kind of the maximum that?
That's the minimum right now. That's what we'll have that for sure if the 9 do what they're supposed to do.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So not guaranteed yet. We're counting on those 9. We're checking on them. What's that? So we'll have practice on the 23rd at 9:45. We'll start at 10, but we'll tell the kids to be there at 9:45, start checking the non-security cards. Ceremony that Thursday night, so hopefully you guys make that at 8 o'clock. Should have gotten your parking tags. They're in your folders. Justin asked for a little bit of help with that parking section to identify who's supposed to be there and not. He said he knows there's years where he's turned somebody away that should have been in there and let somebody in that shouldn't have been. It's just hard for them to know that they're not on the list. So we're gonna help them out with that. So please have that on the dash. If you need any, for anybody you know, please request and we'll get you those. Not a big deal. We just want to have an identification system for Justin and his guys to help them out. Sounds all taken care of.
We usually park at the football entrance, by the field house entrance.
By the field house, there'll be a roped off section.
You let it roped off and you show it, they just let you in right then they go to parking.
And if you've got that on the dash, they'll see it. You won't even have to show them those steps right up. Same sound guys last year, so we're asking that all the students arrive around between 7 and 7:20 for graduation. We're gonna start checking them, but it'll be kind of the same thing we've been doing. You guys are welcome to arrive. We'll have waters on the stage just like you have in the past, okay? We're hoping to be about an hour, 15 minutes. We'll have 10 officers on duty. Band boosters are gonna hold water sales like we have before, and we'll get water on the stage for you guys. Junior class officers will be there to help with programs, but we will have the QR codes. The majority of our parents just to scan so they have the program on their phone. We will give them a packet after graduation that includes all the packets from senior awards, baccalaureate, graduation. So they'll have paper copies of all those that in case we have to update anything. The QR code will be an immediate update if we have to print ahead of time, but we've got it. So the programs that are handed out may not be completely 100% accurate. So we'll do the QR code that we can update and have the accurate program right there, and then we'll give them with their diploma and everything else, we'll give them the final copy. So we'll have our junior class officers helping with that. Any questions?
Sounds good.
Don't forget that we do have our senior awards this Thursday. If you'd like to come to that, 6:30 in the auditorium, and then Sunday is baccalaureate at 5 o'clock, which was already for December. So I just wanted to remind you of those things.
Sounds great. Fine 22 report.
You have, looks like this in your folder. Again, we did have a construction meeting today. Everything is on schedule, right? We had talked about there were 52 rain days earlier, but as of today, we're exactly on schedule that was created at the first of the construction. So they've made plans and caught up and doing good. Again, you can see this is Virgil's sheet for you. The total construction is 63,591,026. You can see that for architectural and engineering, that same amount there of 3.9. The testing for soils, concrete, so forth. That technology number is for us to be able to put technology, servers, things like that we need to do that. We've talked about that's going to be a larger number than what we're probably actually going to use. The FF&E is going to be the furniture and the classroom stuff that goes in. That 4.6 number is probably going to be bigger than what we're going to wind up doing. You can see that. So when you add all that total 76.7, you can see that the bond is at 79. So technically, with our budget, we're 2.277 under. What you don't see in this budget, and I've given this to you before, that of the allowances in the contingencies included in that 63.5 construction budget was $4.9 million of allowances that were either builder or owner. As of today, that number is 6.4.
Should be pretty good.
Yeah, we're doing, I mean, that's what I'm telling you, that, the project's going extremely good. And as well, as of today, we've earned 1.36 million in interest on the bond funds that have been in the bank. So, you add all that together, there's other things we can do, and so, I think I'll talk to you a little bit, I'll put that facility needs list. There are projects that we're looking at doing that, science class, since the science classrooms want to touch science classroom furniture and things like that, to help things along. And then the remainder of the bonds are scheduled to be sold Thursday morning, so heads up on that.
So the bonds that sold last year, we should make in August on those? Can we use that interest money towards the payment on those?
Yeah, yeah.
Keep some arbitrage on that hopefully. Okay.
Oh, you know what, I'm gonna back up. I don't know if we can, I'll have to ask. I don't know. I know that it's there. I thought it would be part of the,
They
it would
had
go back
mentioned something
into.
about that, I almost think you can. I think they said that you couldn't
Okay, I
use
think
the-
it goes
Say we're gonna get, he's gonna want to get us an accountant or someone
And we
attorney
have made a
to look at that, to keep it from arbitrage on that.
Yes, but I don't know if you can use the payment. I think it goes back into construction. You can use it for your project, but not for your payment.
So your interest of the
Goes back
bond
in.
goes back into the project?
Yes, that's why I'm not sure.
You have to go back.
It's one or the other, I don't remember, but
I think
there's
it-
only X amount that can go back into the project or towards that. If you over-earn, something has to go back towards
Yes.
payment. I don't remember what that is, that
But
calculation.
I don't think we'll reach
But the
that.
Westermans can help us on
They
that.
are. They said we had to
Keep
do it
us out
once a
of trouble
year,
on that.
and we've talked to them about it. Yeah. But I don't think it can go for payment. I think it goes back in the project.
I thought yeah.
Because I think whenever we were talking about it, he said you could not use the interest to pay it. It's like using the bond money to pay the bond.
Yes.
And you can't. But it mentioned something like, if we spent money or whatever, we could pay ourselves back and then use it from there to pay the payment that direction.
Yeah, like if we did a resolution, we spent bonds and you refunded yourself, then you could use it.
Correct.
And we did that for all the geotech stuff.
Right.
Earlier on. Just get clarification what we can use the money for.
We'll be talking to him.
Maybe it seems like, okay, we'll issue them this next week. That will probably have a payment in September. I thought we could use it for that one or something, not last year or something. Anyway, you get clarification.
We've made the first payment on the first set of bonds.
Yeah, I'm talking about the one we're getting ready to issue.
Yeah, I don't think you can use this money to pay it.
Okay. Good deal. What else we got on?
That's it for reports.
So did it technically meet windstorm yesterday when it didn't blow down with all that wind we all had here? That was bad in Missouri. I was glad to see it standing when I got here. Now we get to action items. Greg said he's been through a lot of meeting without ever being officially a member. The first thing on the thing is to canvass the May 4th election results.
Okay, so you should have a copy of it in your packet on the board book. There were 580 ballots cast for position 1, and that voted. Mr. Cresta got 415 of them, so he is going to get the board member for position 1. And on position 2, Becky, she did not have someone to run against, and so she.
Would you call out how many Becky got though?
Who did not vote for me?
Becky got 1. Oh, last time I had looked, Greg was beating me. That's why I was.
Now, I want to know who those different people are. Anybody in this room?
I love it.
And then, of course, in the packet, you'll also see, and I don't know if I need to go over each, do I go over each precinct? Okay, so anyway.
Why don't you just give us totals from that? Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, Greg won 415 votes. The Savannah Stewart's 158.
Any questions or comments? I make a motion, we approve the canvass of the May 4th, 2024 election results.
I'll second.
Second by Ray, all in favor? Any opposed? Carries. Accept the certification of unopposed candidate.
And you should have that in the board packet as well. It's just certifying that Becky did not have any opponents.
So we just approve the certification is what we did. I'll make a motion, we approve the certification of the unopposed candidate.
I'll second.
Second by Jackie, all in favor? Any opposed? Carries. We will administer the oath of the office to the trustees. Y'all will come up, stand in front of the thing, raise your right hand. She can get you to read your.
I'll just read it. Do you want me to, okay. Do you want me to go first? Go ahead. Oh, okay. I, Becky Danford, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of Columbia Brazoria ISD Trustee, Position Number 2 of the State of Texas, and will do the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States and the state of the state, so help me God. Last time.
Get my glasses.
Okay.
I better get my glasses with.
Not as long as Jonathan and Linda. Linda, she's just gonna stay up there, don't wheel her upstairs.
All right.
You just hold my credit.
I, Greg Creston, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of the Columbia Brazoria ISD Trustee, Position Number 1 of the State of Texas, and will to my best ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and the state, so help me God.
That's what we do, just that you're not gonna be taking money from each page. And the second page.
She doesn't want to sign that one.
Get all you want.
Yeah.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Julie, what date do I put on here? For this one, sign Becky, I would say the 4th. Thank you.
Welcome, Greg.
Thank you.
Becky, glad to have you back on the board.
Thank you.
Next is board reorganization, election of officers.
Okay, the nominations that I received were for the slate of officers to remain the same. Jonathan Champagne as president, Becky Danford as vice president, and Linda Hebner as secretary.
If there's no questions or comment, I would entertain a motion on that.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Ray,
I'll second.
second by Jackie, all in favor? Any opposed? That carries.
Nice.
Thank you very much, appreciate it. Next is to consider the community eligibility program for CBISD elementary schools effective July 1st.
The handouts in board book, plus I put another copy in the folder. Yep, that's it right there. Just to take you through again, this is the conversation about, do we want to go to the community eligibility program, or do we want to stay in the program that we are? So again, just to kind of go over this again, because it's a lot. At the very top, you have campuses, free breakfast, reduced breakfast, paid breakfast, lacrosse. You have the campuses, and this is only for elementary, it doesn't include secondary. You have Wild Peach, Barrow, and WCE. You can see we took the numbers over, I want to say the first 160 days of school and looked at participation and came up with a daily average. You can see that our averages are that at Wild Peach, 165 kids eat free breakfast. You can see that the average of 12 kids eat reduced breakfast, and then 30 kids at a paid breakfast. And then down to Barrow, 125 kids for free, 8 for reduced, 28 for paid. And at WCE, 194 for free, reduced at 19 and paid at 142. Now the numbers across, you can see that at Wild Peach, the federal reimbursement under the program we're at right now is $273 for a free breakfast. So you can see at Wild Peach, you make $450.45, at Barrow, $341.25, and WCE, $529.62 on that. Looking at the reduced breakfasts, that is a federal reimbursement of $243, plus the student pays 30 cents. So you can see the $29.16 plus the $360, and then at Barrow, the $19.44 plus the $240, and WCE, the $416 plus the $570. Now, when it comes to paid breakfasts, you can see that even though it's a paid breakfast, we do receive a federal reimbursement of 38 cents on that meal, plus the student pays $125. So $11.40 plus $37.50, then at Barrow, the $10.60 plus $35. And at West Columbia Elementary, the $53.96 plus the $177.50, which gives you a total. So if you look at all revenue on a daily basis, right? At Wild Peach for breakfast is $532.11. At Barrow is $408.73, and then at West Columbia is $812.95. However, if you remember last year we chose because Wild Peach qualified for universal free breakfast only, and so we opted into that. So when you look at that, you got to change the calculations and look at the whole number of people that ate breakfast, and that was 207. And so when you do the federal reimbursement, you can see that the total revenue was $565.11 for an average breakfast day there. Now, you drop it down, you still got the lunch program part of that, kind of did the same thing for each of those campuses at free lunch at the $427 reimbursement, the reduced lunch, which is the $387 reimbursement plus the 40 cents that the student pays, and then the paid lunch, of which we still get the 42-cent reimbursement plus the $295 that the student was paying. So you come up with a grand total there. And so you can see the grand total in blue is basically the income for the day at Wild Peach would have been $1,249.68. But when you recalculate it for Universal, it's really $1,282.68 a day. Barrow would have been $1,443.60 a day. And then WCE would be $2,012.51 a day. So that's what you're bringing in. So in that program, the high school and the junior high run the same way. You heard today we're operating anywhere $15,000 to $30,000 is what we expect. So basically we're in a break-even system right now. At the end of the day, it's costing the district no extra money, what we're doing right now. So now you have the community eligibility program. What's the benefit of that is that if you qualify, no students have to fill out free and reduced applications. So that in itself is a huge monumental task if you can get away with it. But you look at the calculations, even though Wild Peach qualifies at 100%, it's still going to cost us money. Even though Barrow qualifies at 100%, it's still going to cost us money. Even though our other three campuses, WCE, West Brazos Junior High, and the high school qualify, it's still going to cost us money. The question is how much? Long story short, I don't think we can even consider the high school and the junior high going to us. It's not cost effective there. So what we wanted to bring to you is that we did recommend looking at you can either opt all three elementary campuses in, you can opt one, or you can opt two if you wanted to do that. So that bottom scenario is if you were to opt in all three elementaries. So again, using the same numbers at Wild Peach, if it was a CEP breakfast, remember, but in this situation, all kids could eat free. Nobody would pay for anything at a meal. So is the number going to go up? Don't know. We just used the same numbers from above, so it was an apples to apples. So at Wild Peach, 207 kids eat breakfast. You can see the federal reimbursement is $228 instead of $273, meaning at Wild Peach you would make $471.96 on breakfast. If you look at the lunch, Wild Peach had been having 171 kids eat lunch. You can see the federal reimbursement is $425 instead of $295. So $726.75, which gives you a CEP total of $1,198.71. So either way you look at it, Without the universal breakfast, it would basically cost you $50.98 a day that you would have to cover at Wild Peach. If you count the universal in, now you're looking at having to cover $83.97. If you drop down to Barrow, you can see the average of breakfast at $161, which gives you the reimbursement of $367.08. Lunch of $251, which gives you a reimbursement of $1,066.75, which gets you a CEP total of $1,433.83, which basically means you're losing $9.77 a day at Barrow. Come to West Columbia Elementary, the average breakfast is $355. With reimbursement, that would bring you to $809.40. With lunch, $298, which gives you $1,266.50. Which gives you a CEP total of $2,075.90, but you have to times it times the 0.69808, meaning that's the part CEP would cover, and we have to cover the rest, which now tells you that you're going to be getting $1,449.14 instead of $2,075.90, which means you would have to cover $563.37 a day. So if you add the $83.97, the $977, the $563.37, times that, times 170 days of school, and if that holds true, you're looking at having to find $100,000 basically. A little over. Again, that money could come out of the Child Nutrition Fund balance.
But at that point, we're already paying how much a year for the free breakfast? I mean, we're already paying.
Not paying anything. So at the beginning of the year, y'all, when we went through this, right, and we were talking about universal, and since Wild Peach qualified for universal, the board said, yes, we want to do universal breakfast for everybody, all elementaries.
Correct.
And so we've been doing that. So as of today, that has cost you about $35,000 because again, you're only paying for the kids that eat at the other two campuses.
Right.
Right. And again, that money would come, I don't know if that's calculated into your, how do you think we're going to end, but that would be out of the Child Nutrition Fund balance.
Okay.
And breakfast is the cheapest meal.
Right.
So when you look at CEP, so when you look at CEP, at the end of the day, you really need kids to eat lunch. Right? If you eat lunch, and so we actually did the calculation that based on what we spend on food for the same amount of time as they were eating, we basically broke it down into a kid. What does it cost us for a kid at a day? If a kid, as an example, what if the numbers went up? And so that's what we wanted to do. If a kid was to eat breakfast and lunch, basically we would make $1.96 on each meal that they ate. If that makes sense, as an average.
So right now, though, they don't have a choice on breakfast, right?
Well, I think about it. It would cost us $1.96. We would make $2.61. We would make $2.61 on a kid if they ate both meals.
If we get the number up.
If we get the number right.
Yeah, you gotta get
Is
the
there a
number.
magic number on that, or
There's a sweet spot.
or is it percentage?
It's percentage.
Percentage?
It's not it is a percentage, but the sweet spot's going to be on the kids eating breakfast and lunch, right? The biggest bang for our buck is the lunch, meaning it costs us less to make a lunch than what.
Make greater percentage on our lunch
Yes.
because it's cost you $1.91 to make a meal and you got $4.25 reimbursement versus
Well, like right now,
$2.28.
we're not forcing, but every kid gets free breakfast. So, and if we kept going with that same thing, every kid's going to get breakfast.
If you opted in and did this, the CEP and opted all three schools, every kid at every elementary would eat free every day.
Right. No, what I'm
We're
saying
just doing
is,
breakfast now, but we're doing.
right. What I'm saying is, right now they don't have a choice. I mean, they're getting breakfast. Everybody's getting it in the classroom per each kid.
Well, again, they're supposed to be, but look at Wild Peach. Wild Peach, the average number of kids is 165 that eat a free breakfast, but we've got almost 300 kids there. So not every kid's picking up a breakfast, and that's what I'm saying. Is that if we go to the CEP where every kid, we have to maximize what we're doing.
We had talked about
Right.
that we would give the kids breakfast in the classroom in elementary. Is that what we're doing right now?
Correct.
Okay.
We should be.
We should be, yeah.
Because you can't, if you take them to the classroom and then through the line or eat in the classroom, you can count the instructional minutes. If you take them to eat and then you take them to the classroom, you can't count instructional minutes until you get to the classroom. And so our instructional minutes are calculated from the beginning.
Yeah, because I would think if we're taking that breakfast to the classroom, then every kid should be.
The answer for that, the number should be higher than 165, yes.
Yes.
And so if you go to CEP, right, that's what I'm saying. If you go to CEP, you're on the hook for it.
Right.
And so the idea that an individual gets to make the decision not to do something,
right,
is going to be a little different.
Yep, I agree.
Right, because if you opt in to go to CEP, just know that.
So the benefit is just basically not doing away with the paperwork. You're basically doing away with the paperwork.
Correct. Because there are families that don't, right? We have kids, you know, the days of making a cheese sandwich for the kid that don't have money are long gone. We give them whatever meal we have, we give them. We do not turn a hungry kid away, regardless of whether they have money or not, or if their parents pay their bill. We don't do it.
Just want to clap.
Right. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We have kids that have bills as high as $1,200 right now that they owe the district. And we still feed them.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And there's nothing wrong with that. People need to know that.
They need to know that, exactly. I have two questions. So first of all, whenever we look at this program, these are revenues we collect. This isn't loss that we're having.
That's correct.
This is reimbursement. So in today, I guess for example, Wild Peach Elementary, we have 171 kids, 207 that ate breakfast. I guess they use some sort of an average and they prepare meals for say 210 kids per day, so we don't have a lot of waste.
Correct.
I'm assuming.
Correct.
If we go to the other and we have 300 students there, they will have to cook meals for 300 students a day.
Well, what would have to
happen? Can we adjust that based off of take rates?
Again, if you make everybody go and you take everybody through, you're going to be able to average that out.
Right.
Yeah. So if you do this, and let's just say we prepare meals for 300, but you have 5 teachers at 25 kids a classroom, and they decide not to take their kids that day, and they don't get counted, that's going to be a problem.
Is this something?
That's what I need. Everybody needs to understand. If you opt into CEP, that's going to be the problem, that the campuses are going to have to make sure that this is done.
So I guess where I'm going with this is revenue.
Correct.
That we're getting per student per campus.
Right.
And our meals are costing us $1.91. This revenue is more than $1.91 per student.
Right.
So theoretically, this isn't creating a loss. This is just creating a less revenue than we're collecting today. So it doesn't mean we're going to actually lose $100,000.
Exactly.
At this point, we're going to have some less revenue than what we currently get.
So
am I reading that right?
You're correct. If we do this right and get the numbers right, there's a sweet spot. Based on lunch and this, if we get the number right, we're going to reduce the amount we're not getting, right? We're going to get closer. And the junior high and the high school, if they're doing well, they could actually make money to cover the loss and we break even as a district, right?
And I would
So
think,
secondly, it comes down to our elementary teachers. Do you feel like you can get your staff to get kids to go through here and get these meals?
Yeah, we have it delivered to the classroom.
Can they do that though?
Yeah, they take it to the classroom.
Yes.
the breakfast, yeah.
So-
The lunch, probably.
We have kids who bring
West
lunch
Columbia
box.
Elementary had 355
It's
students
still
eating breakfast, and how many students do you have on campus?
So, I mean, I can't.
How many students do you have on campus? You had 355 that ate breakfast.
They deliver it to the classroom and the kids can take it or not take it. So a lot of them walk in with a McDonald's, biscuit in their hand that they're eating and they don't take it from the tray that's in their classroom, but it is brought to the classroom every day.
That doesn't help us. We have to have kids take it. They may not eat it, but they have to take it.
Doesn't matter if they have a biscuit or not.
They can have a biscuit and have a meal, and if they throw the meal away, that's fine.
But they can leave it, they bring it to the room, so we've delivered.
Ours take it to the classroom and leave it on the back cabinet, so that way when they're hungry later on in the day, they go get the pack of cereal.
But it's got to be taken, right? There's got to be what counts as a click, right? When a kid comes through the line, we've got to make sure every bag that gets brought gets clicked.
taken from the cafeteria or taken from?
Taken from the cafeteria to the classroom and the kid takes it. And then if the kid takes it to the desk, decides not to eat it, they can take it to the table in the back of the classroom.
But then also on the flip side, the teacher could also just, if there's trays left, she can physically get those trays and put them in the classroom to where there's no trays going back, right?
I like the idea of putting it on the back counter. I mean, are we allowing kids, less fortunate kids, take those home at the end of the day? I think that's great then.
We do a share table at lunch too, whatever you don't want, you can put it on the share table and they run to it every single day, so.
But just understand, Wild Peach, 207 breakfast. Barrow, 161 breakfast. West Columbia, 355. There's more kids in school than that. Lunch, Wild Peach, 171. Barrow, 251. West Columbia, 298. That's lunch. Way more kids in school. Right?
So one thing I like the shared table stuff, but I don't want to see us throwing away a ton of food at the end of the day.
No. The question is, what can you do, right? It used to, the rule was you did have to trash it.
Yeah,
And you can do other things with it now.
We were talking about.
I guess it's more of a commitment from you principals. Can you make all your kids do a take rate, even if they bring a lunch? Because I don't want to say yes and we lose $150,000 because we're not forcing the kids to take it. Granted, if they don't eat it, but we need to be able to get our reimbursements. So I'd like to hear y'all's thoughts.
Well, real quick, I would assume that if you had parents that knew it was now a free lunch, they're not going to send them with a $1 sandwich. They're going to let them eat.
You would hope that.
You would hope that. Of course, not all kids, but.
But you can make them take a lunch.
But you know, in talking with Cynthia King, our numbers were way better back during COVID when we did qualify for universal.
Way high.
Our numbers were way higher than this.
Okay.
So you would hope just by announcing that and making sure that people understand, right? Now, the 35 or the $25,000 that we have in unpaid right now, again, nobody's paying, right? So we would have no negative balances for kids in this, at the elementary level.
Parents saving $60 per month per kid.
Yeah.
Just in lunch.
Yep.
So is the lunch being taken to the classroom also?
No, they go to lunch.
So quick question about that, because we were just trying, one of the reasons why my kid didn't buy their lunch at school was because there was no time. Like, they would wait in line the whole entire time and have literally 120 seconds to try to eat their lunch because the line was so long. So, and that may have changed because it's been obviously a few years since my kid was there.
Same thing with mine, they took lunch
So
every
if you are
single day.
doubling the number of kids going through that line, logistically, are they all gonna have time? Is that last kid in line picking up their lunch gonna have time to sit down and eat said lunch?
Cafeterias, I mean, I honestly haven't put a stopwatch to it,
Yeah,
but.
I'm just curious. I don't know what it looks like.
It feels as if it takes 5 to 7 minutes for a class to get through the line, and they have 30 minutes, so there should be.
Literally, everyone walks through the line.
And we force them to all walk through the line, and the lunch kits usually go in the front, and they walk through, and they walk right out, and they sit back down, because they don't want to take the lunch, but we enforce that the teachers have to take the entire line through the line.
That's good. That's good.
So my question is it easier for the form for the principal, or is it easier to get kids going through the line from y'all's point of view?
Well, it's different because a lot of times it's not us personally that are filling out the forms, it's the cafeteria workers that are doing the labor behind that. It's not difficult to tell the teachers what to do and make sure that they do it.
And the problem with that grade, we talked about that last year, is there's probably another 50% of the kids in the district that actually qualify for it, but they don't fill out the paperwork for it. So we can't even get the reimbursement for it because the parents won't take the time to fill out the paperwork.
Yeah, we're like at 65 to 70% economically challenged that would qualify for it. And we run about 50 to 55%, I'm guessing, that actually fill out.
Our numbers at the secondary level should be higher than what they are. Correct.
I will say sorry, I'm interrupting.
The older they get, it's,
right.
I want to say we start out at almost 70% at the elementary level, and we're 38 by the time we get to a senior, and that's same families.
Yes, ma'am.
We used to do, our old cafeteria manager did an order form for breakfast, and so every kid ordered what they wanted for breakfast the day prior before they left. So every kid had something ordered, and every kid brought something to the classroom. Whether they got it in the morning or not, they ordered it. So we didn't do that this year. They're going through the line, but still every kid goes through the line and every kid sits down and eats breakfast. So I am a little confused about our participation
Yeah, our
number
number's so
because
low.
it should be way higher than that. But the order form worked great.
That's an average over 155, the first 155 days you serve.
Let's just start there.
It's an average, so yeah, you're gonna have days high, but you've had days that are lower too.
You all accept the challenge? Or would you rather stay status quo?
Stand and raise your right hand.
The deal is there's no makeup. It doesn't get hit, right?
It's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a
Every
great thing. I
kid
agree with you
gets an
100%.
opportunity to get
And
free food.
we don't know that we're losing money on it.
You're exactly
You're getting
right.
less revenue, but if your projections come out that only 200 kids, 207 at Wild Peach eat it, and you have 350, if your staff is only making enough breakfasts for 210 kids, you don't have a lot of waste. You're still gonna come out on the positive side. It's just when we make for everybody there, and then only half of them eat is where we get in trouble.
Correct.
And I think that's gonna be, our staff has to manage that and monitor that on a regular basis of how many lunches breakfasts we're serving.
And one of the things that Cynthia King did bring up is that if we did go to this, they would go back to some kind of order system.
Okay.
If you could
Which may
remember
even
back in the day, elementaries, they report to school as soon as breakfast is over with, all right, what do you want for lunch? How many want chicken fingers? How many want chicken fried steak? That kind of stuff. You get numbers so they know what to prepare. That she would probably go back to that kind of system.
If that's not a burden on her staff, I think that's the best way to do it.
So I got one question, right? Say, for instance, you got 300 students on a campus. In the CEP program, does a certain percentage of that 300 got to participate, or just?
Theoretically, all of them have to.
All 300?
Well, we only pay, so we're only gonna get reimbursements on the ones that actually
go and
So if a kid doesn't go, the only thing, like Jonathan's talking about, our concern would be if we fix plates for an additional 100 kids and they didn't come through, then we get no reimbursement for what we spent.
So you think with the order form deal, if they put bring in my lunch, then we won't?
Correct.
Okay, then I just don't want to see a ton of wasted food.
No.
No.
Because that'd kill us if you have a lot of wasted food.
Yeah.
As long as you have.
There are hungry kids that will take the food.
Yeah, and I don't care if they take it and don't eat it, because if they take it, we get paid.
Yeah. Well,
they may have one bite of it, that's fine,
And as we talked to Cynthia, this also brings more, kind of a heavier burden on them to make sure kids want to eat. Because if the food's not good, guess what? The parents aren't gonna eat, and they're gonna tell you the kids are not eating because the food's not good. So, I mean, there's a little bit of,
And if the program is just a flop, we can elect out of this next year, what you said earlier?
That is correct.
Okay, so.
We can opt out of it mid-year.
Okay.
Oh, really? Okay. That gives us till December, we can reevaluate in December.
How do we get our economically disadvantaged then?
Percentage.
Do what?
Because we do that through free and reduced lunch. True.
With CPE, they're all considered, they all get it for free, they're all considered the same way.
She's talking about accountability.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's not a lunch question.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about lunches.
Apples and oranges now we're talking about. You'll still get that on the accountability.
They would pull it just like they pull a CEP number. The government would pull it, the state would pull it just like they pulled the CEP.
Any other questions or comments? Then I make a motion that we approve going to the community eligibility program for CBISD elementary schools effective July 1, 2024.
I'll second it.
Second by Becky, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. Thank you all. Good discussion on that. Next is consent agenda, which is to approve budget amendments and donations, approve the teach certification 24-25, approve out-of-state travel for FBLA, approve autism grant shared services agreement, and approve the science curriculum adoption. Would anybody like any of those pulled?
I do have a question about the out-of-state trip. Can I just ask the question?
Yes, we can. We'll just ask it.
So the form says we are requesting permission and funding assistance. Are they asking us for money? Are they asking if they can raise money? Do you know what they're asking?
They're asking for your permission. It's funded, this is a CTE, this is a CTE student organization, and money's budgeted for travel.
Okay, okay.
But out of state, they need approval, correct?
Yeah, they just need, they need the blessing, board approval.
Yeah, I mean, I
for out-of-state
understand,
trip, yeah.
but the form itself
How does
says
it?
we are requesting permission and funding assistance.
Yeah, there's no funding.
But you're
for the
talking
board.
about, it's already budgeted. Yeah,
We have,
okay.
we have travel
I don't know if they know
budgeted
that.
for that.
Because there's a bunch of numbers on how much it's gonna cost. I'm like, well, we've never given anybody else money. I just wanted to make sure that was clear.
It's budgeted, yes.
Okay, that's my only question.
At least Julie told me it was.
CTE has the funds, yes.
As part of the bill of 65%, we have If there's no other comments, I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
Second by Linda, all in favor? Any opposed? Matter carried. Anything else we need in regular session? We will adjourn to the closed session pursuant to the Texas Government Code, the Open Meeting Act, Section 551.074, to consider the employment of professional personnel, discuss the resignation and retirement of professional personnel, and discuss the performance of personnel. We will reconvene an open meeting and consider action on items discussed in closed session. Thank y'all very much.